Hey guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. And today we are talking about breaking news that already broke, so therefore it is broken news. And spoiler alert, the headline of today's video that we're going to be discussing is an email I received through ComicConnect. Now, don't get too excited. ComicConnect sent this same email to everybody on their mailing list. And the title of the email is, or I should say the subject, Incredible Hulk 1 breaks record price into pieces. So I am going to read this email to you, and we are going to discuss it in depth because my analysis on this is probably going to shock some of you. Now, before we go any further, you must understand that the latest trend in the overall antiques and collectibles trade is if you are an auction house, if you are a dealer, or even if you are a grading company, when you put out a press release, you need to pump up the value of the particular item in question to the point that everybody looks at it as an investable commodity. So I've talked about this before on this channel. Everybody is looking to invest in antiques and collectibles right now. People, especially on the higher end of the spectrum, they're not buying this because they want to own it or collect it. They want to invest in it, or at least that's what they want to tell themselves. That, honey, I just spent $250,000 or $500,000 on a comic book, but don't worry, it is an investment. And in some cases, that's not wrong, guys. I want to make that very clear. You can invest in some of this, both over the short term and over the long term. Now, again, my analysis on this is probably going to shock a lot of you. So I'm going to read the email. I just want you to be aware there are a lot of hype-driven terms in this email, like investment collectors, procurement, historic prices, and the like. So just understand the hype. Let me read this email to you, and then we're going to discuss it in full. So I get this email, and it says, "Greetings, bidders and consigners." And again, this comes from ComicConnect. Another day, another comic, another record. Investment collectors are procuring the very best comics at historic prices as the market shows no signs of slowing down. Love those terms. Investment collectors are procuring the very best comics at historic prices. ComicConnect marked a new record in our fixed-priced marketplace with the highest price ever paid for an Incredible Hulk 1 graded by CGC in 9.0 condition, which sold for $490,000. Now, I want to make this very clear, guys. This item did not sell at auction. This item sold in the fixed price marketplace. So I do not know who bought it. I can't even see what the underbid was because, again, this was a fixed priced item that just sold. Somebody came along and said, you know what, I will pay that price for this particular item. And it turned out to be a record price, no less. So let's talk about this because Incredible Hulk 1 is much scarcer than a lot of other Silver Age comic books, especially produced by Marvel. So the press release goes on to state, with only 7 copies certified higher on the CGC census, this Silver Age key is notoriously difficult to find in higher grades. The comic features the first appearance of the gamma-irradiated Goliath. With just 1 copy certified at 9.4 and 6 9.2 copies, pickings above 9.0 are mighty slim. High-grade copies of Hulk 1s are extremely rare compared to other Marvel keys. This is 100% true, guys. For instance, Amazing Fantasy 15 boasts 4 9.6 graded copies and a whopping 6 copies in 9.4 condition. This is 10 times as many copies as the sole highest graded Incredible Hulk 1 in CGC 9.4 condition. The new owner of this is fortunate to own a special piece of American mythology, here we go with the hype-driven terms again, that will continue to gain value as a cornerstone of their collectible investment portfolio. Love that term, collectible investment portfolio. Now, to be fair, ComicConnect, I'm going to be very honest, I agree with them in their assessment here. I'm not talking about the hype, I'm not talking about the financial terms, but if you look at the scarcity of Incredible Hulk 1 compared to Amazing Fantasy 15, even compared to like X-Men 1, or a lot of these other comic books that were released by Marvel around this same time that all went on to become vintage sought-after key issue books, Incredible Hulk is extremely scarce, guys. So I will tell you, if you're coming to me and you want to invest in a book like this and you're going after it in like even in 5.0 condition, this truly is a book that is much more scarcer than most of the other comic books released by Marvel around this same time frame. So I got to hand it to you. You are obviously doing some research in the market. If you're going after something like this and looking at a book like Amazing Fantasy 15 and saying, you know what, there's several other copies of that book out there, especially in high grade. I think the Incredible Hulk 1 may actually do better financially over the next few years, or even over the long term, than that of an Amazing Fantasy 15. And I'm going to be honest, when I analyze the market, I come to that same conclusion. Now, you can argue Incredible Hulk as a character is not or ever going to be as popular as Spider-Man. You can argue he's close. I mean, they may be very, very close in popularity. But overall, most people are going to gravitate towards Spider-Man than Hulk as a favorite Marvel character. Let's be realistic here. But that doesn't mean there's not a lot of opportunity in an item like this. So I'm really going to give you my analysis here. Given the fact that this book sold for $490,000, if we look at what a copy of Action Comics 1 has sold for in CGC 9.0, or even if we look at what a copy of Amazing Fantasy 15 in 9.0 condition would sell for, in all honesty, I got to admit, guys, the fact that this book sold for only $490,000, given how many of these are on the CGC census at present time, I got to say, the buyer, in my opinion, even though he paid a record price, he didn't do that bad. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be very surprised with my assessment, but I call a spade a spade. I'm very honest on this channel, guys. I have no bias like some of you make me out to be. And I'm being very honest when I say this. I can honestly see this book, as a result of its true scarcity, going up in value exponentially over not just the next few years, but really possibly over the next 10. And that's not something really I say out loud in regards to most pop culture collectibles. So I got to give it to ComicConnect here, even though I don't agree with the fact that this press release is filled with terms like investment collectors, procurement, historic prices, cornerstone of collectible investment portfolio. I hate when these companies use those terms over and over again, but I do agree with their overall assessment. They're completely spot on. Incredible Hulk 1, especially when you get to the higher grades, is a truly scarce condition comic. And it is one well worth, if you are going to invest in comic books, this is one that honestly you should go after. If you have the means, if you have the money. I mean, especially, again, you compare this to what an Action Comics 1, a Detective Comics 27, even an Amazing Fantasy 15, like they already said, what those books are selling for. I'm not going to say this book is a steal, but there is a lot of value here. Somebody did their research, looked at the market, and said, you know what? I have the amount of money to buy this particular book at present time. I can spend the $490,000 on this. It's not going to break me. And they analyzed the market properly, and this is their just reward. Now, we're going to see over the next few years if this book comes back into the marketplace, what it sells for, and whether the market rewarded them or whether the market slapped them in the face with a stale donut. I mean, let's be realistic. That could happen too. But overall, I must say, the person that bought this, in my opinion, did make a wiser decision than a lot of the people that are going after books like Detective Comics 27, Action Comics 1, Amazing Fantasy 15, X-Men 1, an extremely high grade. This right here literally was flying under the radar. Now, I do want to state one thing before I end this video. Make no mistake, the fact that this person was able to pay $490,000 for this particular book tells me he probably has a net worth of $10 million or more on average. So this is a very, very well-financed investor. But I just wanted to give you my assessment because in all actuality, I don't see this as being not surprising. I actually see this in a day and age where we have comic books that are selling for $3 to $4 million, where I just literally roll my eyes and go, why did that copy of Amazing Fantasy 15 go for that much? Or even Action Comics 1. For an Incredible Hulk 1 in CGC 9.0 condition, for as scarce as it is, to come to market and sell for $490,000 in today's day and age with the prices we're seeing, I consider this to be an absolute steal in comparison. I want to make that very clear. So do what you want with this video. You can let me know how you feel in the comments below, but I will tell you, if you analyze a book like this, you're going to see it truly is scarce. And as a result, there is untapped value here, guys. I'm not lying, and I'm not trying to inflate the market for Incredible Hulk 1. Full disclosure, I don't own any copies of Incredible Hulk 1 in my personal comic book collection. But in all honesty, it is kind of tempting, seeing how many scarce copies there are and where the market's going. I consider this to be a good buy and a good decision that this particular person made at present time. We're going to see what the market says if he agrees to sell this back into the market in the next few years. So that's my assessment. Do what you will with it. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.